I'm Craig. That's Brad. Welcome to Weekdays with Craig and Brad. It's my brother. He's my brother. Hey, Brad.
Hey, Craig, what's going
Hey,
on today?
guess what? We did it.
What? What do we do?
Episode 17. We made it.
We made it to episode 17. Golly, that is
Hey,
amazing and fantastic.
against all the doubters, we did it. 17
Man,
consecutive episodes. Get effed.
I remember on our first episode, a lot of people were like, "I bet you don't even get to 17 episodes." But you know what? Here we are today. And you know what? It'll be really something if we get to 18.
Oh man, I agree. Who knows? Who knows if we'll make it? If we're able to get to 18, the heavens will have parted, and we'll hear the cherubs on their harps. There you go.
Sure. I
Yeah.
hope one day, I hope one day we're sitting here and I'm sure our viewers have caught on by now. Every episode is something to celebrate and we clap along, we say we made it. I hope we're 300 episodes in and we're going, we made it. 300 episodes. I can't believe it. If we get to episode 301, that'll be something. But we're going to keep it going and make it starts to show off right for me.
So can I give you a little rundown, right? So every day for the show, I have like a little run sheet, right? It's like this is what's on the show today, right? Today, here's yesterday's. It's like, hey, you got a comment of the day, Mr. Beast Burger, and then we kind of talk, and right, it's just to keep on track. This is what I have today, episode 17. Craig and Brad visit their old house. That's it, because that's all we're talking about today.
All right, yeah.
Today is kind of a unique show. We're not doing comment of the day. We're not doing any games. This is just about us sharing with you a personal experience we had this past weekend, which was mind-bending, to say the least. Let
me give a little backstory here. So
Please.
We were filming our episode for Friday, last Friday's episode. And I got a text at the very end of it from my best friend growing up, Jeremy, and he says, "Hey, now's your chance." And I'm like, "What? Now's my chance for what?" And I click on the link and a link pops up on my phone, a realtor.com link for our old home that we grew up in. We only spent 4 years there, but they were like the most, those formative years. Right. And so we have a lot of great memories there. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I sent the link to you and we were like, we got to go check it out. And so we made an appointment right away. We went and nerded out and took a step back into our past. And, it was pretty crazy because not too much had changed. It just sort of got older.
So, I think there's a little bit more to the backstory on top of that, right? So, so we grew up. My parents worked really hard, right? And their business, they had a personal business that they ran. Our parents ran together, and they ran into some issues, and we had to move out of our house. And my mom was, our mom was like super ashamed, like she was not, I guess, ashamed, but she saw this as a step back for her personally and professionally. And she said she had a goal of getting out of this house in 5 years. And to her credit, and to my dad's credit, they did it. They did it in 5 years. They built their business up. They became leaders in their industry, and they sat down, they put their head down, and they went after it, and they did it. They I say it all the time. You go get it, and they went and got it. Now, this house, though, as Brad said, I was in this house from the ages of like 8 to like 13. Or like 9 to 13, right? This was 1990 to 1994. Is that right? Is that about right? And and how old were you that age?
Yeah, I guess I was like from age 7 to 11.
Right. So so we get a hold of the realtor. I call. I'm like, hey, I'd like to see this house. And when we looked at it online, the house was in very bad shape. This house is not in good shape at all. A little more of the backstory is that we moved out of it 25 years ago, and the lady who's lived there was an older lady who's lived there for 25 years. She's now in her 80s, and she just literally could not keep up with the house. She was Airbnb. She had like Airbnb for people like renting in the house and stuff, and renting rooms in the house and stuff. And there was water leak, and like the house it's the exact same house. Like
Mhm.
people think about like what it would be like to go back in their house for that they grew up in as kids. And this is a quarter century ago. And a lot of people think like, well, what I wonder if they did anything. I wonder if they changed the wallpaper. I wonder if they did whatever.
Knock down some walls.
Right. I wonder if they expanded the kitchen. Right.
Yeah.
I wonder what it looks like, because everybody has this thought of like what it would be like to go back in their house, and to go in and experience that was extremely bizarre. And and
it wasn't. Was it anything that you expected, or was it not what you expected going in?
No, there were times where like, well, let's talk about it. We have video, right?
Okay.
Now,
Sure, yeah.
the video, we don't have audio for that, but we do have video, and we'll talk over it while we do that. Sound good?
This is just pretend this is a bonus feature on a DVD of Weekdays with Craig and Brad, and we're going to give a commentary. Now, one thing I wanted to say real quick was that part of that backstory with mom and dad moving into the house was that they look back on those years as really hard and tough. We look back on those years as like, woohoo, like childhood. So there's a parallel kind of feeling in our family about this house, and I just wanted to point that out.
Now, the other thing we need to point out before we go to video is that this house does not look like any other house you've probably seen. Like, it looks like this is not a traditional looking house that has a roof on it. This house does not have a roof, which you'll see in a second. This house was nicknamed the hamburger house because it looked like a McDonald's. And I think that was part of like my mom, like she had this great house and they had to take a step back, and that was kind of her shame, if you will, that she felt like she was letting us down, letting herself down or whatever, that she now had this house that didn't have a roof and it looked weird. And it was kind of this, it's in a good neighborhood and stuff, but at the same time, we're going through a rough patch. And so let's go to the footage. And like I said, you won't be able to hear what we're talking about, but you will be able to see our faces.
Yeah. Well, this was, in fairness, this was just a couple days ago. So we can kind of tell you what we were talking about. So we pulled up, and this is the house here. There's the flat roof. And
now the thing about the lining there that you see, like I'm in front of here, that kind of those kind of things on the ground, those were put in by my dad, and they haven't changed at all. You can see. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just letting you chat. So those railroad, there were railroad track ties kind of things, like railroad wood things, and we had those at our previous house before we moved to this one. So the tan wasn't there, and we don't need to sit there and tell you what was. You don't know watching this show what was like different and what wasn't. Yeah. But I was just out front. I was doing things immediately that I used to do, which was like walk along those wood whatever you want to call them, the wood tracks, and just looking around. We were chatting, and we were just like, oh my gosh, we were kind of nerding out a little bit, just wondering what it was going to be like. There's we're kind of like, the paint's a little different on the outside. Did we plant these bushes when we moved here? And we're just like kind of reconfiguring what we remembered, I think, and what was familiar. Now the thing about it was, okay, that's the end of the first video that I took. The thing about it was, and I'll scroll back here, we can chat here for a little bit and get there we go. Well, we can just so there's the house. When we played, our basketball hoop was on the side over here. When we played basketball, if you missed the ball, if you missed the hoop, the ball just went on the roof and just rolled and stayed there. So like I had to go to the side of the house and get up on this lattice and then get to the top of the roof. And then like, it wouldn't roll back down to you like a traditional house. It was just a fun, weird time because it was such a weird house. You go inside, there's a downstairs basement, and that was cool to me as a kid because it was downstairs under the ground.
Which doesn't happen. There's no basements in Texas, right? Yeah. It's kind of a half basement, which, a full basement is all the way down. A half basement, there's a window that that you can see out of. But it's. Do you have any video of that itself, or did you not have any of that?
I got this other video pulled up.
Okay, so this is inside the house, right? You can
Yeah.
see there's stairs down to the left, stairs down to the right. Now the lady had put up this paint and stuff, so I'm not going to put that on my mom. Put that on her mother, but you can see the look on my face is like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
weird. And there were times as I was walking through that there were times that as I was walking through that it's going to sound really stupid, but I felt like I had been there before, and I felt like I had done it very
Right.
recently.
Yeah.
And here I'm pointing out, this is literally the exact same dishwasher we had. It had not been updated in 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we were wondering, what that was there, because I didn't feel the same.
That was the
That's
microwave. That was where the
yeah,
microwave was.
right.
Yeah, it was eerily familiar in a way, and that does sound weird when you say it, because you're like, I lived there, but we only lived there for such a short amount of time, and so much was packed into that time. Now, the thing about when you go back to one of your childhood places, like we're pointing out here, like you're like, this is the same fan that mom and dad put in. And it literally is. I think the lady that lived here was inspired by that fan and was like, I'm going to paint my house this whole color, because we didn't have all that green.
No. And there's, we have this fireplace here, which I always thought was kind of ugly, but it was just a part of our house, right? And you see the water damage up there. Like there's this place is not in really good shape. There's water damage up the upper left side. And it had definitely been, the house had been.
There's a lot of water damage on this roof.
Right.
And I guess the lady was just so getting up there in age, she just couldn't keep up with it. Now, right here, I'm singing Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson, because I used to stand right there on that fireplace and watch TV in the corner. I'd watch Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, and I would sing that. So in this house, I found sort of my identity in that short amount of time. Now, you look back on your life and you go like, God, when did I become who I was going to become? It's amazing that in 4 short years, like I discovered entertainment and music. I found our grandpa's guitar in the back of a closet, and that made me start playing guitar. And I used to go downstairs to our older brother's room, and I'd listen to his CDs, and I discovered a lot of classic rock music that inspired me to start making my own music. So, and you started really getting into video games and basketball at that house.
This house in particular, like when you look at the trajectory of Craig's life, like this house, this neighborhood, the friends that we made here, video games became a really big part of my life with my buddy. I mentioned Mike Savinsky several times. I played. The irony here is that the lady who opened the door to the house, she actually lives at the house across the street where I would play our neighbor all the time in basketball. And I told her, like when she was standing outside, I was like, that's where I got my first fist fight. That's where I got, that's where I shot most of my baskets. This is, and that's where I got my first ticket, and all these like little things that I would just, and she got I didn't even tell you this. I called her the other night.
You did?
Yeah. When because they were accepting offers on the house, and in Texas, it doesn't matter how good or how bad the house looks, it's going to sell. Like the market is insane right now in Texas. And this was like a fixer up special, an investor special. Right. But the lady who was there, the neighbor who let us in, who was the realtor also, I left because I was there. We were seriously looking at potentially like buying the house and like trying to flip it. Like that was something, but there was just too much and we just didn't know. So I was there. I saw her play like 3 or 4 times on Saturday or Sunday, whenever it is we went to go see on Saturday. And I came back with I came back with our parents because we thought it'd be fun to bring mom and dad. And that was really fun. But we'll talk about that in a minute. And then I came back with Kristen and her dad because he was going to essentially be a potential investor in this thing. Right. They're selling it for a low price in a neighborhood that was that could have seen a good flip on, right? But every time I saw her, a little bit of like my childhood would spout out at her, right? And when I left for the final time on Saturday, she goes, I got her card and I said, look, I'll be in touch. So I called her Sunday night at 6 when they said they were going to be done accepting offers, and she said, when you left, I felt like I lost a member of my family because
Wow.
Yeah. She goes, I didn't have a phone number to reach you at. And all I wanted to do was talk to you about your experience there. And it was so like heartwarming to
Yeah,
talk to her.
she was
And
very sweet.
and she goes, I told her about it. I said, we're this is just too big of a project. We don't know enough about this to really do it. But I hope that you get, I hope that the lady who owns it, her name was Anne. I hope that Anne gets what she can, because the reason why Anne was selling it, not only was she old, and she didn't have any money for retirement. The reason why the house was being sold the way it was because there was roof damage several years prior. The insurance company gave her money to fix the roof. She never fixed the roof. Now, on the surface, people will be like, that's a real scumbag thing to do. But she didn't have any money to live and any money to survive. And she had invested money into the house so her daughter and grandchildren could live there with her while they got back on their feet. So like, this lady had all the right reasons. So that's why it had to be like an investment house, and you couldn't get a traditional loan. It was crazy and all that stuff. But, so I talked to her on Sunday, and it was like really heartwarming to hear her say that. And I said, when this house sells and when they flip it, I would love to come back and see it. And she said, I will definitely call you. So, that was really nice. But sorry, continue. What were we talking about before I got off on the tangent?
I don't know. That's a good story though. I was going to mention that lady because when we were leaving, you were there with me that when we were leaving, but she goes, you can tell you all really love each other when we left with mom and dad. And I was like, well, thanks. That's really nice. It's nice when somebody can feel that. So we're getting all gushy now and nostalgic, and I like the vibes. I don't care. We don't have to be silly all the time.
This show is about, like, this is the show about us. And whether you like us or you don't like us, honestly, if you like us, great. If you don't, the show isn't for you. And that's what this is about. It's about two brothers in our journey. So
get to know us, whatever. So so we step back in time. Craig knows this about me, but I'm just fascinated with time. I'm very nostalgic. Obviously, behind me, especially 80s and 90s stuff. And I had this idea for a company a few years ago called Stitch, where you would compile all of your photos and videos from over the years, and you'd be able to pull them up in certain locations and revisit if you were ever in that same area, be able to watch what happened in that spot. It was very futuristic-y kind of idea. And this was the closest I'll ever get to it, standing there. Because I have a private YouTube. We have a private YouTube where we can watch our old home videos. So I did pull up some of the videos right where we were standing, and I took some screenshots and tried to do some side-by-side comparison kind of stuff.
Do you want to show them the wallpaper first?
Yeah. So that was one of the funny things. We talk about things that change and things that don't change. The downstairs bathroom had not changed one single bit. It had not changed one bit. Same shower head, same shower door, same wallpaper. And is this not the most 1988, 89, 90s wallpaper?
And it's dirty and stuff. Now, it used to be white and gray. Now it's like all dirty and gross.
It was definitely a little more vibrant. But you know what? It's cool. I walked in. This was one of those tiny details of life where I would never have remembered this unless I walked back into that bathroom. And the moment I walked back in, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the exact same bathroom. And then you were talking about the light fixture cover making the noise of the light cover would flip up and down and make this like noise when you close the door. And then that came back to me, and like, it's just crazy. That's what fascinates me about time, is that, you can just forget totally about something, and then just it takes a little like click of just seeing something or hearing something. It just brings back so many memories. So this was one of the things that distinctively just like I'd forgotten about, but I walked straight back in to like being, 9 years old, 10 years old again. Was like, oh my gosh. So the other thing was this lamp, this fan. This fan that was up in the ceiling in the living room, and we both sort of looked at it, and we were both like, that's totally the fan mom and dad put up in the ceiling when we lived here. And the realtor lady was like, some people have mentioned how retro and cool that is. And it's funny because we're now old enough to where we look at that and I'm
Mhm.
like, oh yeah. And then a younger generation's like, wow, that's so retro. That's cool.
That's old, man.
So
But
yeah.
there, she said she was getting offers for just the fan. People wanted to buy the fan because
You can't find that anymore. I'm sure
no.
it's a by now it's an antique.
Oh,
It's gone
sure.
up. That's probably gone up in value more than the house.
Yeah, right.
So so yeah, we walked around. I took some pictures of the kitchen while I was in some other areas of the house while I was watching videos on the phone. So this was the kitchen today, and this was from a video clip. Now, this is you and me on
Can
a
you go back real quick? I just want to
yeah,
see the comparison again.
sure, yeah. So there it is today. And here it is in about, I think this was 1993, maybe.
Wait,
And
wait, wait,
I
wait,
had,
wait, wait. Go
yeah,
back. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Okay, I thought it was the same refrigerator for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, but it's
Oh,
not.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty close. You would think so.
Mhm.
Um, but it's, you can see what's changed. It's very white and green now, and it was more brown toned and stuff back then. But in this video, now, if you're looking at wondering what happened, I had just slapped you in the balls.
Oh, well, it's it's
I
like
just
a precursor to my future career at Screw Attack, which is good.
Yep, that might have been subconsciously what inspired you back then. But just growing up with me, and that's funny. That's just what you did back then. Is if you got a shot, you take it,
And you laugh
look
up
how
at
happy you are about it.
hey, and all my Bulls gear, right?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. In the video, like it's funny because you go, it's totally like a ball slap laugh. Like you got me good,
Oh wow.
but you're all. I'm all like, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
you're
right.
like, oh, you got me. So that was pretty funny. Now here, this looks pretty boring as a picture. This is in the kitchen area.
Give it up for the intercom though. The intercom and
Check out that retro intercom right there. Check that out.
Hmm.
You don't see that these days. Now, for those of you that don't know what an intercom is, it's a way that you would communicate with other rooms in the house if you were in another room. So you could click on a button and be like, dinner's ready. Come on. And then you get up and push the button.
Now you just group text.
Yeah. Or you just yell. They realized we don't really need this. We can just yell at each other. So this picture was our kitchen. And this picture here is I overlaid myself. This is me on my birthday. I think I was turning 11 maybe here.
That's crazy.
So I lined up the intercom as best I could right here. And down here, you'll see a little stack of CDs and books. I'd show them off in the video clip. What I have there is 3 Tales of the Crypt books.
Oh.
And I have, it was Billy Joel's Greatest Hits. And this CD, which is the exact same one that you're looking at, this is Aerosmith's Get a Grip. And totally, I thought this was the funniest thing at the time. If you've got this CD, it's got
the nipples. That's right.
And I show this to Dad in the video, and he's like, "We don't need to see that."
Right.
It's really funny. So that's
You're so
me.
happy.
I'm going, "Ha! It's my birthday." So I was kind of flamboyant back then. But you know what? It was just a fun time. And check out that teal shirt.
Love it. Love it. Is that it? Is that everything?
No. So we've got a few more. Let me X this out. So we've got this is Craig waking up on Christmas morning.
Nice.
I want to say 94.
See, we're tying into the holidays, which is
yes.
Nice.
Now here we are. This is what the Skistamus household kind of looked like during the holidays. We had some nice wreath up here. So you had just woken up. You had come downstairs, and we did a today picture of it. There you are in the same spot 25 years later. Let me get the side by side pulled up.
There it is. Nailed it.
Yep. It's perfect. So you never would have expected to have to relive that specific moment, that second of your life again, but there you are doing it. Congratulations. But that morning, and maybe we'll share some of this video later this week. What I'd like to do for our special Christmas episode is share some of this actual home video footage. And that's one where you got Donkey Kong Country, and you were excited to get it. And we've got lots of cool videos that we could share. That I think, if you're our age, you'll kind of dig some of the stuff we got. I'm sure you got some of the same stuff when you were a kid, and maybe we'll take a little trip down Christmas memories past for a special Christmas episode.
Well, it was definitely a I wouldn't even say once in a lifetime experience. I think the vast majority of people don't get to experience what we experienced. Yeah. And I feel really lucky to. It was actually a little bit of closure, which is pretty neat. And I think, hearing when we brought mom and dad back, and I think for them there was a little bit of closure for them to hear us talk about how good of a time we had during that time period. I think that mom in particular, she left that house going like, okay, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, I think that was the closure for everybody. It was inspiring to me because it let me know, like, even though we were kids running around just hanging out with our friends, not really thinking about what our parents were going through at the time, to hear throughout the years, like, oh, I didn't like living there and stuff, but to know they made it through. And that's what I told mom. I was like, you know what, you made it through, and you're here today, and you lived in you built a good, successful business, and you raised good kids during that time. And it might've been rough. And I think we all have those rough points in our life, but it was inspiring to know, like, okay, you can still get through it. It's a really good story to step back in time and get that closure in the year 2020, because we're all going through 2020 right now, but guess what? We're going to get through, and hooray, it's almost over.
So in 2045, we'll be able to go back to our old houses and feel better about things. So
yeah, except we'll be going beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, and we'll just disintegrate into particles and show up at them. Maybe we'll see. We used to think that in the 80s, but here we are, 2020, still no hoverboards.
Yeah. All right, nice. Well, I'll tell you what, that was a really fun trip. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. If you guys did enjoy that, please let us know and give the episode a thumbs up. And if anybody is an old time Screw Attack fan or Game Attack fan, or has followed me at any point in my career, and tell them about the show, I'd really appreciate it. And if they want to tell them about this episode too, I'd really appreciate it as well. But yes, we'll be back tomorrow, episode 18 of Weekdays with Craig and Brad. I sure hope we make it.
I hope we make it, Craig.
It's going to be good. But yeah, we'll come back with more good stuff, and make sure you guys subscribe, make sure you like, and of course, watch more episodes, because you can watch them. They're only like 20, 25 minutes long. You can just watch a bunch of them throughout the day. Watch the entire series.
Do it.
All right.
Go back.
We'll see you guys tomorrow for episode 18 of Weekdays with Craig and Brad. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you later.